अस्सलामुअलैकुम, my name is Mohammed Aida. Today I study and school foundation. तो आज का टास्क है कॉलेज। तो कॉलेज शुरू करते हैं 3, 2, 1. So the title name is what's the matter? The roots of concept. The question one is what does the expression what's the matter mean?
Back in the game, I see. It basically means what is wrong or is something bothering you? It's usually a way of asking someone why they look upset or why a situation seems off.
The question two is when do people usually ask what's the matter?
Usually when they notice the shift in someone's energy, like if you're unusually quiet, looking sad, or just seem a bit off. It's that go-to phrase for when the vibe changes and someone wants to check in. Ready for question 3?
So the question three is what is the origin of the word matter?
I think you mean the origin of what's the matter, right? It comes from the word matter, meaning substance or the essence of a thing. So when someone asks that, they're basically asking, what is the substance of the problem? Or what is the actual thing that's happening here?
So the question five is four is how has the meaning of matter changed over time?
It's shifted from being purely physical to more abstract. Originally, matter was just about the physical stuff things are made of, like atoms and elements. So over time, it started being used to describe a situation, a problem, or the core of an issue. Now, when you ask, what's the matter? You're not asking about the chemical composition of the room. You're asking about the emotional substance of the moment.
So the fifth question why is the expression used to show concept?
Because it's an invitation. By asking what's the matter, you're acknowledging that something is wrong without judging it. It shows the other person that you've noticed their struggle and that you're creating a safe space for them to talk about it. It's less about the answer. Hafiz.
So the question six is what emotions can the phrase what's the matter express?
Wait, you're back. It can be a whole spectrum. Most often it's empathy and concern, but depending on the tone, it can also be frustration. Like when someone is acting out and you're just over it, or even a little bit of curiosity if you're just trying to figure out why a situation is weird.
So the question seven is how is the expression different from wrong?
It's a subtle difference, but it's there. Asking what's wrong is a bit more direct. It assumes something is definitely broken or incorrect. What's the matter? Feels a bit softer, like you're asking about the situation as a whole rather than just pointing at a problem. One feels like a diagnosis, the other feels like an invitation.
So the question 8 is why is showing concern important in relationships?
Because it proves you're actually paying attention. When you ask someone, what's the matter? You're telling them that their mood isn't invisible to you. In a relationship, that feeling of being seen and understood is usually what keeps things steady. It turns a bad moment into a moment of connection. Do you think that's the most important part of showing concern?
So the question 8 is why is showing concern important in relationships?
It's the glue that holds everything together. When you're with a partner, knowing that someone is tuned into your frequency, even the quiet, sad, or stressed parts, creates a level of trust that you can't get any other way. It's basically saying, I've got you, and you don't have to carry this alone. Still thinking that through? Or are you moving on to question 9?
So the question 9 is, what tone of voice should be used when asking what's the matter?
Soft and gentle is usually the way to go. You want it to sound like a warm invitation, not an interrogation. If the tone is too sharp or loud, it can actually make the other person shut down because it feels like you're demanding an answer rather than offering support. It's all about that softness that says, I'm here if you want to talk.
So the question 10 is, can this phrase be used in both formal and informal situations? Explain.
Yeah, but the energy changes depending on where you are. In a casual setting, like with a friend, it's just a natural way to check in. In a formal setting, like at work, it still works, but it's more professional. It shows you're observant of a colleague's well being without getting too personal too quickly. It's versatile enough to fit both, as long as you nail the tone we just talked about.
So the question 10 is, can this phrase be used in both formal and informal situations? Explain.
I think we just covered that one. I mentioned that it works in both,
Yes,
but it
yes,
just feels
yes,
a bit more
yes,
professional.
yes, yes. The 11th one is, what are some common replies to what's the matter?
It depends on how much they want to share. The most common one is probably a simple, I'm fine, even when they're totally not. Then you have the honest ones like, I've just had a long day, or I'm a bit stressed. And of course, the I don't even know, I'm just feeling off response, which is honestly one of the most human things someone can say.
So the question 12 is, why do people ask this question when someone asks or looks
I
upset?
Because humans are naturally wired to notice when someone they care about is struggling. It's an instinctive reaction to try and fix the imbalance. When we see someone looking upset, it creates a bit of tension in us. So, asking what's the matter is a way to resolve that tension and try to bring the other person back to a better place. Does that make sense?
So the question 13 is, how can asking this question help someone feel better? The 13th question is, how can asking this question help someone feel better?
It takes the weight off their shoulders. Just knowing that someone noticed they're struggling can be a huge relief. It validates their feelings and makes them feel less alone in whatever they're dealing with. Sometimes the act of actually putting the problem into words for someone else helps them process it and realize it's not as overwhelming as it felt in their head.
So the question 14 is, what is the difference between concern and criticism? The 14th question is, what is the difference between concern and criticism?
Whoa, that is a sharp turn from emotional support to technical terminology. I'm guessing you're talking about quality control. Generally,
Oh,
a
no, no,
constant is
no,
something that
no, no,
doesn't change.
no. 14th question is, can body language make the no 14th question is, what is the difference between concern and curiosity?
You really threw me for a loop with that one. Since we were just talking about expressions and emotions, this feels like it's from a completely different playbook. Are you talking about quality control in a business sense, or is this something more technical like programming or engineering?
So the question 15 is, can body language make this question sound more caring? How?
Absolutely. If you're crossing your arms or looking at your phone, the words don't matter. It'll feel like you're just checking a box. But if you lean in a little, keep your posture open, and maintain soft eye contact, it tells the other person you're actually present. It's that combination of a gentle voice and a relaxed, attentive body that makes the question feel like a genuine hug instead of a question from a teacher.
So the question 17 is, how do different cultures express concern for others?
It varies so much. In some cultures, it's very direct, like if we've been discussing. In others, it's way more subtle. They might not even ask a question. They might just bring you a cup of tea or offer to help with a chore as a way of saying, I see you're struggling and I'm here. It's less about the words and more about the action. Are you curious about any specific culture's way of doing
So
it?
the 19th question is, what are some other ways to ask the same question?
There are tons of ways to say it, depending on how deep you want to go. You could go with something super casual, like, you okay? Or, what's up? If you want to be a bit more supportive, you could try, is there anything on your mind? Or, I notice you seem a bit down. Do you want to talk about it?
So
It really just depends on how.
the 20th question is, how does empathy relate to the expression?
They're basically the same thing in different forms. Empathy is
So
the
we will
feeling,
end this
the ability
conversation.
to.
So Allah Hafiz.